Yesterday was a rough day for the Air Force. It's still unfolding. There's a lot of information that is flowing around. The objective of this video is to lean on some of my experience and talk about what's transpiring with the other crew member who is still on the ground inside Iran. So we know that an F-15E was shot down yesterday, as well as an A-10 was hit, was able to make it feet wet over the water, and the pilot eject and then successfully be recovered. There was some confusion, I think, when that A-10 pilot was picked up and rescued, that the media ran with the line that both crew members from the F-15E were picked up, the pilot and the Wizzo, that weapon system operator, making some assumptions that the Wizzo is the one that's still on the ground. I think with this, if anyone's speaking, saying in absolutes that they know what's going on, they're telling you a lie. We're going to try to sort through some of that noise and just highlight what I think is transpiring. Again, I just did a live stream with Ward Carroll for an hour and a half. We dug into this. So I'll link that down below. I encourage you to check it out if you're interested in more on this. But there's a lot that is transpiring. And again, no one should be speaking in absolutes. So yesterday, we saw videos and images circling around of HH-60s, these helicopters here. You can see the refueling probe. This is the primary rescue vehicle for the United States Air Force. You can leverage Ospreys, but when we talk about the rescue community, combat search and rescue, this is the rescue vehicle. Leveraging the HC-130 Combat King, this one up front here, providing aerial refueling. And then on this HH-60, you're going to have pararescue, PJs, essentially combat rescue officer that are going to provide that medical aid to a downed airman when they go inside and pick up a survivor from a personnel recovery event. There's also images of a Blackhawk that were circulating that have made it around. This is really grainy. Again, you don't see the refueling probe off the front here, so maybe it was a Blackhawk. Maybe it was a Pavehawk, the Air Force's version, again, that rescue combat vehicle that the Air Force utilizes for combat search and rescue. But we don't know. Time stamping this, and Ward did a pretty good job of diving this back. This started breaking yesterday, Eastern time in late morning. So Iran being 8 hours ahead, this transpired sometime late evening, late afternoon, evening time frame. So potentially when it was dark, and all the videos we're seeing and pictures are clearly daytime. Downed airmen, the first thing that's going to happen is the Joint Personnel Recovery Center is going to get notified, and that happens really fast. There's a lot of things that are going on that enables that to occur. But the United States military, United States government, I guarantee you had awareness that an F-15E was hit, and you had ejections that occurred really quickly. And that's going to energize the personnel recovery system. The front line of it, again, I think is going to be these HH-60s. Our Air Force's combat rescue is designed to go inside, go behind enemy lines, and pick up a downed airman. It's kind of a doctrine thing for us in the Air Force. Again, there's a lot of different players and different services that do rescue, but Air Force combat search and rescue, I think, would be on the leading edge of this. Now, as it goes along, you're going to energize more of the United States government. The United States government is going to move heaven and earth to recover any personnel that are located behind enemy lines. That includes three-letter agencies, the entire Department of War, etc. Everyone is going to be leaning into this the longer it takes. Now, question was asked, is it a bad sign that this person hasn't been picked up yet? So a couple different schools of thought. Now, in the effort of time just to get this out there, this is an AI video where you see this Strike Eagle in Western Iran is about the rough spot we're talking about. We saw some of the refueling, and Ward did a great job kind of doing the geo mapping of where this transpired. So check that out if you want some more detail. I just want you to have an idea roughly of where we're talking about for this Strike Eagle. Again, being kind of in the Western Iran and where we're seeing these HC-130s, HH-60s operate. So when it comes to personnel recovery, first, we don't want to make the situation worse by having one of our platforms, one of the rescue vehicles shot down, and now we have more survivors on the ground that we got to go worry about. So seeing these planes operate, the helicopters operate inside Western Iran, they're hanging it out there. The combat search and rescue, their motto is that others may live, and they live by that. It's a very heroic, a very noble cause they're going out there and doing, but they're not going to risk it and risk having a C-130 shot down or an HH-60 shot down. So assume it's pretty safe to operate where we've seen them flying thus far. That said, Air crew goes down. They're gonna be utilizing one of these guys, a C-cell. This is a radio. It's pretty advanced. It has GPS, text messaging, SATCOM, line of sight radio, very robust. There's some good examples, and we go back to SEER school. I'm sure today, when I went through SEER school over a decade and a half ago, they talked about the 1999 shoot down of the F-117 with Dale Zelko, Vega 3-1, who helped facilitate his own rescue. In the shoot, he's talking on the radio. So again, if time and conditions permit and you're able to start talking, start sending off your signal of where you're at, that's triggering the Joint Personnel Recovery Center to getting resources flowing in that direction. Now, where this lays out, the terrain, very mountainous. There are valleys and peaks. I think Ward said it's about 8,000 feet in some points. So you have a pilot and a Wizzo. They're both ejecting. There's a seat sequencer. So when one pulls the handle, the Wizzo is going to go first. And then the pilot, they're going to go opposite trajectories just to make sure their seats and chutes don't hit. And then depending on altitude, wind stream, how fast the plane was flying, the terrain below, they can end up separated very far. So the pilot, again, making the assumption the pilot was picked up pretty quick. This other person, again, hopefully they are communicating, their radio is working, and the United States government knows where they are. Right now, the clock is ticking. You want them to be on the ground the least amount of time possible, because the longer on the ground, obviously more bad things can happen. But it might be in good comms. They're coordinating with the JPRC, again, Joint Personnel Recovery Center, and they might be in a spot where, hey, it's a little too hot right now. We can't come get you. You're in a safe spot, hide out, rest. They also might be having them move from point to point to point, trying to get them to a spot that's good to exfil. Maybe it's in mountainous terrain. It's not really good to pick them up, although we can pick people up in mountainous terrain. So again, there just might be some factors and variables that we just don't realize that's going on. So right now in the timeline, the fact that they haven't been picked up is not the end of the world, assuming everything else is playing out. They do have water, assuming they took their seat kit with them, gives them a little bit more longevity. We can go without food, right? But water is going to be, I think, one of the first and biggest limiting factors, assuming they're safe on the ground, no injuries, because without water, you're not going to make it that long. So they have some length to their survivability, but they're going to have to be finding water. Looking at the terrain and the images, I'm not an Iranian geographic expert, but I assume water might be a tough thing to find. Maybe not, right? But that's going to be kind of on the top of the survivability list, because you got to survive first so that you can evade. So there's a lot that is going on right now. I have no doubt that the United States government, again, is moving heaven and earth. These are 3-letter agencies, and now the entire Department of War is leaning in to ensure that this airman, if still alive, they're going to be picked up safely. Obviously, when you see these HC-130s, when you see these H-860s, the men and women that are in the rescue community and tied to this, incredibly brave, because you see them flying down low. They're inside Iran yesterday picking up this airman, and they're doing it in an area, right? Like someone was just shot down and they're going to go fly in and pick it up. So it's pretty incredible and it's humbling. But as someone who used to fly over bad guy land, the reason you know it's going to be okay if you have your worst day is the United States government, again, is going to do everything they can to bring you back. So if you're the praying type, definitely pray for this airman who's behind enemy lines. If you just are one who's not a praying type, whatever good thoughts and good vibes you can throw their way, I know would be appreciated. So hopefully this story ends good and it can be wrapped up here pretty quickly.